of an eye, it'll all disappear. And we'll turn from this world to a world without end, where each sin that we've sown will be shown in our favor. This is our life, this is our labor, till it's all one. All is one. And it's all one. The light and the darkness, the sweetness, the sorrow, it's all one. The good and the bad, what's past and tomorrow, and it's all one. The near and the far, revealed and concealed in us, all is one.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. Hey, Asaf.
Hello. How are you, Seth?
So our good, man. So the quaranteam is growing. What started as a two-man organism over here, an interesting cell with two positives. We have our team is growing. We now have with us the incredible Denise from Texas, the lovely and helpful Denise, working behind the scenes, helping us coordinate all of the incredible guests from around the whole world who are with us.
Woo!
And thank you, Denise. And also starting last week, we have an incredible friend named Bright from the UK who is working as a content producer. He's also going to help any guests, any of you who are on Facebook or YouTube who would like to ask us a question. I mean, you can ask questions in the chat there, but we're trying this new thing where we bring a guest into the Zoom here. So Bright can help you with that. So thank you, Bright. The team, this organism, this two cell organism doubled in size already. So that's very exciting. Friends, we are here with you in the quarantine. We are the quarantine. Our role together is to re-educate ourselves, to create this new kind of consciousness for us, new thoughts filling our minds, so that at some point, everything we see on the screens, everything we hear on the airwaves, all of the billboards we see, it's all about we, us, we, that everyone is friends. Everybody is in this together. Everybody cares for each other. That's the kind of world we want to enter into. All of the media that we're filling ourselves with is about how good it is to be together, how great it is for us to be friends, how wonderful it is for me to see you next time, how I can't wait to help you, how you can't wait to help me. And from this, you can imagine that people start looking for the correct kind of partners in relationships, in business. And before, maybe I was looking for a certain kind of partner who had certain qualities or whatever. Now I understand what life is about. So now when I go to meet somebody for business, or I go to meet somebody to be a spouse or something like this, I have a new kind of view, new relationships forming. So that's what we're doing here. We're the quarantine. I'm in New Jersey, stuck in the house. Asaf,
Stuck in the home,
man,
stuck at home in Israel. Yeah.
stuck at home in Israel. And we are with you live. Denise in Texas, behind the scenes, and Bright in the UK behind the scenes. So this amazing team coming to you today. Welcome, everybody. Asaf, what do you got for us, man?
Well, first of all, I didn't want to stop that beautiful
I didn't know where that came
flow. I want to add to that everyone who is connected to us, yes, tell us where you're watching from. I see some are already doing that. We like it. It makes us feel great. And the organism is growing, and that collective consciousness that we're working on feels like it's coming alive, like Seth is saying. And, also when it comes to, we give it a lot of kind of commentary in this show. We talk about where humanity's headed, and we give some insights from the authentic wisdom of Kabbalah based on the lessons of Kabbalist Dr. Michael Lightman. And so this kind of commentary, I was just kind of thinking about it, is really for those who want to go beyond taking sides, those who want to go beyond just the mundane, some numbers, more confirmed cases, less statistics, up, down, this and that. Those who are trying to really put the pieces together, see the big picture, go beyond who's right and who's wrong, see the governing forces of nature that are driving everyone in humanity towards a better stage of evolution. That's what we're really trying to uncover here. And like 2 days ago, I think, sometime this week, it's really hard to keep track of time in quarantine. Did you notice that? It's like,
I think it's Thursday. Yeah, I know that our show is Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, so that helps.
Yeah, it helps. It helps keep track of time. I agree. Anyways, there was some Earth Day, so I was told, like I think 2 days ago, and it got me thinking about this whole Earth thing, and our relationship with it. And it's funny that we actually don't really take so much, take into account that we are living in a living thing. You know what I mean? Like, literally, there's these like narratives for movies where like some people discover that they're living in the belly of a monster or something like that. We are literally living in the belly of something bigger that is living and breathing, and everything around us is literally those different systems of that organism that we're all part of, and it's alive. It's alive, I tell you. It's really alive. I mean, the minerals, the plants, the animals, and everything in between are constantly living and breathing, and they're part of this great living thing. And we somehow, human beings, we've grown so blocked. I'm looking for a better word, like ignorant.
Well, Aboriginal people. Okay, but let's also think about it in a way of that. We tend to think, oh, you're like someone's an idiot because they just, I remember in the 80s, like people used to just throw their McDonald's wrappers like right out the window on the highway in New Jersey. That's what it was. You would just like drink a soda and then like throw the can out the window. But it's not really being an idiot. We call these people idiots, but really the Aboriginal people, native peoples, they felt when it was going to rain. They understood they were one with nature. They understood, like, if they had to kill an animal to eat it, they understood there was like some kind of respect in the process.
Absolutely.
They felt their place in the system. From what you're saying, we just don't feel any connection to it. It's not like somebody feels like, oh, if I throw this garbage out, like I'm ruining everything for everyone.
Yeah.
No, we just feel completely disconnected.
We
from
somehow lost it. We, like you said, what are Aboriginal people, or like other indigenous people in different, there are still some tribes like that in Brazil and other places. What's the difference? What is the difference between us and them? This is us, thousands of years ago, basically. So what has happened? Over time, with the way we have evolved, we've lost touch with that instinctive sensation.
So what's the unique reason why the wisdom of Kabbalah tells us this happened? Because it's not bad. Nobody did anything wrong.
Right.
So what's the purpose of it?
Right. So that is the question, and there is a reason. The reason is that we need to grow apart from nature in order to come back to being one with nature. But this time we need to be one with nature and with each other on a conscious level. And it's similar to
your wife found the word for you. She said the word you're looking for is detached.
Thank you. Detached. Yeah, we're so detached. I'm not even gonna ask, actually.
Your wife called. She told
no, it's okay. It's okay. She's pretty close here, but she had to get to you to get to me. That's interesting. Anyway.
Okay.
But so we've grown detached from that natural system that we're all part of. And it's mind-blowing when you think about it. We are actually we are unconscious of what is happening. Now, those indigenous people you were talking about, they were instinctively better in touch with the wind, the ocean, the animals, the plants and everything. And we have kind of lost touch, but it's not really like that. We're still part of the system. Only our perception has been clouded and shrouded in these clouds of egoism. So we're just focused on ourselves, and each and every human being is focused on self-benefit. And the result is that we feel detached from each other and from the world. But the situation has never changed. We're still all connected to each other. We're still all connected to nature. The only thing that has changed is this growth of the human ego that has created an egoistic perception of the world. Anyways, what do you think?
First of all, we have people here with us from Michigan, United States, Michigan's in the U.S. So the U.S., Norway, the U.K., Ghana, Africa, NYC, Kansas, Brazil, Miami, Florida, and Holland. So far, I see. Wow, thank you. Thank you, Bright, for the update. And that's amazing, everybody. You are here with us in the quarantine. If you have some you'd like to ask a question live with us, just say so in the chat there. And and we also got Staten Island, New York, New Jersey. Oh, hey, New Jersey, and Sao Paulo. Wow, Brazil, great.
Tell them, Seth. Tell them they can ask a question live. Those who maybe just tuned in.
If you just tuned in and you want to ask a question live, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, just say, I would like to ask a question live, and Bright will be in touch with you and will help you figure out how to get in here with us. Asaf,
yeah,
I've been doing a lot of cooking lately. I've been doing more cooking. Amazing. We did last night. We made tacos. Anyway, really great food. More cooking than I'd done since my 20s when I didn't have any real work to do.
But you're more of a, you're more capable of cooking than, let's say, me, for example. You have that quality. You're more you're more nurturing and, feminine a little bit. I
was raised by a woman and stuff, but okay. Anyway, that'll be for another show. But before that, I'm going to take that up with you later. Before that, we would pick up dinner at least once a week from a restaurant. We would take out and bring it home at least once a week. And let me explain to you what that scene looked like in my house. So everyone got miso soup. Okay, so for example, Japanese. So everybody would have a styrofoam container, right, for the miso soup. And so suppose I got a sushi roll. Okay. So then I would have a plastic container with a plastic lid about that big. So I have my styrofoam cup with a plastic lid. Then I have my plastic containers just for me, not for anyone else's food.
Sure.
I would have my plastic container with a piece of plastic grass that separated the wasabi from everything, like extra plastic things in there, and then a plastic lid on top. And then of course, maybe we'd get some kind of appetizer, which might be spring rolls. So veggie spring rolls or something. So that would be in another plastic container.
More plastic. Yeah, sure.
just for me. Okay. And then if my sons were sitting there eating too, and they each had something similar. So each of us had a miso soup. That's 3 styrofoam containers and 3 plastic containers for the sushi, and then whatever plastic. So it's a big bag full of plastic, empty plastic when we're done. Okay. And what do? We put all of our trash into our backyard, and all of our food waste, we just put it in our backyard. So, no, I'm just kidding. Of course not. Of course, we don't put our trash in our backyard. We send our trash to Bangladesh and Laos or Ethiopia or Senegal or somewhere far away, some poor country that needs money. So they'll take our garbage. It's so out of mind. I mean, it's a sick story.
Yeah.
And probably nobody else can relate, because nobody here probably ever used any plastic or put, a can of garbage.
Who would do that? Who would do that?
Nobody puts a can of garbage outside every week to be taken away so they don't know where it goes. So the point is, Asaf, we're just so disconnected from nature. If we had to put all of our garbage in our backyard or in our front yard or keep it, we would behave much differently. But because it all goes away, we're just very, very disconnected, right? And the purpose of our show...
The purpose of our show?
Well, you had something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, just think about what would happen if someone goes into your house, right, and throws everything on the floor and, just starts making a mess. And even, doesn't go to the bathroom in the bathroom, just does it on the floor. And, it just makes a mess in your own house. How would you relate to that person?
So this is what the country. You're right. You would think of
This
that
is what
person,
we're
you would
doing
never-
to our home. We're doing this to nature. Nature gave us a home, and we're like residents here together with many other, 8 billion other individuals, together with trillions and trillions of other species and life. And we're basically, not taking any of that into account. That's basically what's happening. Now, clearly, if someone would come to my house and, I'm welcoming them as a guest and they're just making a mess, then, they wouldn't be allowed to come in again.
So
And
welcome coronavirus.
welcome
okay?
coronavirus.
Welcome
Exactly.
coronavirus.
Exactly.
And why are we welcoming coronavirus? We're welcoming the coronavirus because the virus isn't really a virus that's bothering us. What does it mean? It means that there's trillions. We talked about it many times on our show. There's billions of bacteria in our body. We're basically a bag of, besides a couple organs in there, we're like a bag of viruses and bacteria. There's like trillions of viruses and billions of bacteria inside of us that aren't killing us every day. This virus, it carries a lot of information, not just biological data, but this virus carries in it. Think about it. Think about the regular flu. I think the regular flu kills, and we're going to get better at this with working with Bright, our content producer. He's going to be able to feed us all these kind of facts. But I think the regular flu kills something, maybe like, this is not fact checked yet, but like 60,000, I think, Americans a year. Is that right? Or 60,000?
Don't remember the numbers.
Kills tens of thousands. The regular flu every year kills tens of thousands of people. Okay.
Right.
This flu is now, it's not so deadly, right? But yet the whole world is but the whole world, but the whole world is panicked. The virus is not just acting on people's biology, it's acting on our minds, it's acting on our senses.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and you know what? It has to do with the fact that we've become an globally interconnected society. It has to do with that.
This goes to the trash. So now we're interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't feel it before. I just threw my trash into the garbage and I didn't care where it went. I went out to make my living and I didn't really think about the effect it was having on everybody else. I pulled into the parking spot before someone else because I was thinking about my life and nobody else's. So it's no one's fault, really. I mean, this is how we were created. This is how we developed. One long time ago, when we were Aboriginal people, we were not like this. We were connected to nature. Now we're more detached from it.
And what do we do? What do we do with this? So here's the point. You have these lots of green movements, eco-friendly, eco-loving movements, which respect for them. But is it really enough, though? Is that what we're saying here? That that we need to make sure we recycle and what else? And use less plastic. And less air travel and less this and less that. Is that the whole thing? And this is, I think, important to clarify, that if we don't, at least from the perspective of the wisdom of Kabbalah, if we don't clean what's in our hearts, if we don't clean ourselves, we won't be able to clean the planet. This needs to become so evidently clear in today's interconnected world. The only way we can actually make this planet healthy, and make the environment green, so to speak, is by starting to recognize that we're all neighbors. We're living in the same apartment, The moment we start realizing that we're connected, that we depend on each other, and that we're living in the same home, and we're siblings, we're brothers and sisters, all of us around the planet, then clearly, I don't want to ruin your environment because I care about you. I don't want to ruin someone else's air or someone else's water because it's like doing it to me. And that's what we're missing here. We're detached from each other and detached from nature, and the result is that 50% of the food produced globally goes to waste. The oceans are filled with plastic, and Earth strikes back with coronavirus.
50% of the food goes to waste. And if you saw the New York Times yesterday, it said that there's about 100 million people who are hungry. It says now it's going to be like 200 million
Oh,
people in the poorer countries
yeah.
that are
Someone
going
in
to
the
be
UN
hungry.
said famine is gonna be big soon.
Yeah. So, when I told a few people here about it, the first thing they said was, well, it's not coming to the United States. That was like the first answer that they said. So it's like,
Knee jerk
we still,
reaction.
we
Knee
just
jerk.
don't feel it
Yeah.
yet. And it's nobody's fault. We just don't feel yet that these things, I mean, more sensitive people begin to feel that what I do to you affects me, but in general, we don't feel it. And also, even if I do feel it, everybody, it's an important point. Even if I do feel it, I can't just go outside and give all my food away to somebody on the street. And that's really what the wisdom of Kabbalah has come in to do with us, which is to teach us that it's first our attitudes towards each other. Asaf, I want to talk about our guest today, if we can just switch for a second, switch gears. So
Let's.
uh, we have a surgeon from Austria. She is a trauma surgeon in private practice in Austria, and she has a pretty unique perspective on this. She's also a uh, Kabbalah student, student of our teacher, Dr. Rob Lightman. And there's some interesting insights that she has about what's going on in medicine now. So are we at the moment where we can bring her in here?
I think we will in just a matter of moments. I
Okay.
think the link was sent to her, and we'll have her in just a few seconds. But you spoke to her a little bit before. What are we going to talk about?
Yes. Are we on the air? Are we actually having this conversation with all of our guests here? Yes. Uh, well, I wanted to wait till she's here before asking the questions to keep it more of a suspense and wait for the payoff there. But the point is that just like we're talking about here, the way we behave, the way we feel towards each other, you can't from above, you can't put a gun to someone's head and say, love me. It just doesn't work. It has to be, you can put a gun to someone's head and say, give me what's in your pocket. You can put a gun to someone's head and say, dig a hole in the ground, but you can't put a gun to someone's head and say, love me. Right. In
Yeah.
order to have somebody love you, there has to be, you have to
And
work on
nature
their heart.
can't do this to us as well. You just you really hit the nail on the head. If a person hears us from the beginning of the show and asks himself, okay, so what's Kabbalah's explanation to why isn't nature, making us loving to begin with? What's the point? That is the point. Nature doesn't want to, switch a button or force us, put a gun to our head
Imagine
and tell
somebody
us
imagine somebody
to,
loves you because they know that when you die they're going to inherit some money, and that's why they love you.
or that someone forces you by threatening your life to that you will love him. It cannot work. The
It's
whole
right.
meaning and quality of love is that it comes from the quality of bestowal. It comes from the intention of one to love another, and not because you're threatened or scared or want to somehow take care of yourself in some way. I don't know. We're still waiting for Elizabeth here. She does have the link, so I think.
Yeah, she has the link. She has the link. So, but if we have this feeling, then if you do love me, and I know you do, Asaf, if you do love me, if you do love me, then I don't have to worry that you're trying to screw me over. I don't have to, I can live my life with confidence. I can live my life that even if I'm not watching, there'll still be enough for me, right? Even if I'm not in the room I come back, I know that, you put some dinner aside for me. I'm not going to go hungry. Like, it's a different, if we love each other, if we come back, if we leave quarantine with a new kind of worldview, and we're going to talk more and more about how to develop that here together. If we leave this space with that kind of attitude, then all of our endeavors, from medicine to business to health to education, will all be infused with this new kind of connection where everybody is looking out for the benefit of each other.
And hello, Elisabeth Prelog
Hi, Elizabeth.
from Austria. How
Hello,
are you?
guys. I'm sorry for being late.
we'll
I couldn't
excuse
come
you.
in at the first place.
It's okay.
Well-
So we have actually just have more viewers now from Elisabeth. Were you listening before?
Yes.
Okay, so we have St. Petersburg, Russia, Colombia, Israel, the United States. Now we have got Croatia, and Turkey, and some
Russia, Morocco, I believe. We have. I think I saw someone from Morocco somewhere.
Okay,
lots of places.
And Don, we see your question, and hopefully we'll be able to get to that. And Shira, hi everyone. So anyway, Elisabeth, you have a lot of people here from all over the world. So thank you for joining us. You are a doctor in Austria, and also a student of our teacher, Rob Lightman. So makes you a perfect guest for the show. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you see in your professional world, being a doctor now, in light of COVID-19, in light of the new kind of, where is the medical profession at? How are the countries all becoming? Are they starting to get the point or not? And what's your unique perspective on what's happening?
Thank you for being a guest tonight. Well, the situation is very confused, I think. We hear a lot of numbers, of statistics, but nobody knows really what's going on. I get a lot of emails every day from some institutions where I'm connected with, because I also work with evidence-based medicine people. And, the coronavirus came upon us like a tsunami, and nobody was prepared, which I don't understand, actually, because since 12 Monkeys, everybody saw the film, I think, we should have been prepared, and I think on a global level. But at the moment, it looks like everybody is doing his own thing. The nations are not working together, not even in Austria, the areas are working together. They don't give away the masks, the protection thing. The expendable goods for the hospital are not. We have only stores for 3 weeks in average, and situation is not good. And it shows that, in fact, we are not connected at all at that point, and it should really be better. For instance, I think it was 5 weeks ago, when in my hospital we found out that our expendable goods will only reach for 1 week if we do acute surgery like before, every day, a lot of operations. And we started to look around where to get those goods. So we heard that Germany would not give theirs away because they need it. And the other company where we get the masks, the Polish people had their hands upon it. And it's like that all the time. And I think that, the political decisions which came with the coronavirus are more dangerous than the virus itself. And I think we really should prepare for the next pandemic and for the next.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what do you mean by the political
What's more dangerous?
decisions being more dangerous? Yeah.
I think you know about antibiotic consumption. Most of the antibiotics are used for animal growth. No, animal.
Research? You mean they do research with?
No, the animal get the animal that we eat get those antibiotics.
Okay. For food consumption.
97% of all antibiotics get in the industry for food.
For food
What
consumption.
percent?
97%, did you say?
Yes, just
Wow.
3% of all antibiotics go for people. And this also is a big danger because the resistance against antibiotics is growing, and there are some bacteria where no antibiotic is working. So I fear that if we don't care and if we don't work more globally together on research and everything, and also stop doing the antibiotic feeding to our animals which we eat, then we'll have bigger problems. Then we will die in appendicitis again, like 100 years ago. So I think really politicians must really also connect and come to one table and talk about the global situation, not about the situation in my country or in the neighbor country or in US or in Austria. This is, how can I say, it's not like the time needs to be.
Elisabeth, as a practicing, you're a practicing surgeon, right?
Yes, I'm a surgeon, but I'm also in the management for, I think the English term is compliance manager, which is very loved by everyone. But I see all the risks and all the traps everywhere. And, if it's your profession, your mindset is like that. So maybe I'm exaggerating, but
Exceptionally worried. Yeah.
Yes. Nevertheless, we have to connect, and we have to go to the politicians, to the leaders, and bring some turning around in their ideas.
I wanna ask a question, Seth. Maybe help me out here. I don't know that people who are not doctors or work in these areas of expertise like us. I mean, like what where you are. I don't know that we're aware that much of the kind of lack of cooperation and lack of collaboration that you're talking about. Maybe you could give us something from your insights as both a doctor, working in this field and knowing the health industry and the and all of that, as well as someone who studies the wisdom of Kabbalah. Could you give us like a vision of how you think global medicine should work, what we should be seeing, especially in a time like this with the coronavirus pandemic?
I can try. I think at least somebody must start. And you know what? By the way, today I heard a very nice news in the news, and it was about Gavi. It's an organization which was born 20 years ago in Davos. In this, they have all every year some economical speech where big thinkers are coming, and this organization Gavi is has taken responsibility for vaccinate.
Vaccinate works. Yeah.
Vaccinate people in Africa and children in Africa, and they saved a lot of lives in the past 20 years, and they now are demanding that future vaccinations should be common good, public good, for at least 1 or 2 years, and afterwards you can make money with it. And this is for me one sign that people are thinking in the right direction. And my vision is that doctors, personnel of health, they come together beyond politics and beyond countries and borders, and think about how to deal good with the health of humanity in future years. They have to talk about those viruses. Maybe Corona, COVID-19 is not the last one. About the antibiotics, as I told you, the 97%. I heard it in last year in a special hygienic lecture, and it almost I almost fainted when I heard that, because I think humanity is really walking on the grade of a mountain.
Right.
Just one step in the wrong direction, and it's over.
So
I think a lot.
yeah, go ahead, Seth.
I think a lot of people are skeptical about the whole vaccination conversation right now for many reasons. They feel like there's different business interests behind it that may have different kind of agendas behind it. But if we're talking about what you're saying from just the cooperative medical perspective, if everybody had this feeling that the medical establishment was coming towards us with love and care, we might be able to say, okay, this part of the population maybe needs it first. This part of the population is stronger, and everything is done in such a more natural, holistic way that but everybody, rightfully so. I mean, the people at the top are so corrupt. The people who are set to make billions of dollars off of all these medicines and the policies. It's very hard not to be skeptical of all that. The good news in all of this, I mean, imagine your little Greta, right? Little, I think she's like the autistic girl, right? The Greta with about the environment, who's going to save the environment. So here you have one little girl, right? And she's up against the world. And it made a lot of people think, what is it going to take to save the environment? And how many billions, trillions did it take? It took, we said this 100 times in the show already, it took $0 to save the environment. Actually, it took, nature to sneeze and everybody to go home and stop ruining everything, and the environment cleaned itself up. Yeah. So what we see again and again is that, it's probably not going to happen that the leaders are all, although I did see, was it France's president called for a ceasefire between
Macron,
all.
I
think he called for a ceasefire recently. So maybe he had like come
A
to
moment.
Jesus moment or something. What? Yeah, he had some kind of moment, lying on his bed at night. But it is possible. But we're not expecting right away that every world leader is going to all of a sudden understand that we're all one family and everything would be fine and you can still get reelected. Let's feed everybody. Let's take care of everybody and cooperate together. But we who are studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, we understand, for example, right, 1 billion people didn't invent the smartphone. A couple people did, and then billions of people use it. 1 billion people didn't invent a vaccine that saved all these children in Africa. Few people did, and then millions of people can use it. So as the Kabbalists, we are that cutting edge. We are at the tip of the iceberg there of tip of the arrow of consciousness, of pushing into humanity, of feeding into humanity all of the time, this connection, all of the things that you're talking about that are broken. Well, nature could make.
I want to ask Elisabeth maybe another question if we still have time.
We do.
So if we do manage to bring more consciousness of connection to humanity, which I agree with Seth will not happen by the leader's initiative or anything of that sort. It's just something that needs to ripple through the human network and then become a need, and we're part of the system of nature itself, and the system of nature will push us to it. But when it comes to medicine, you talked about how we can we actually easily make sure that all people healthy is what I'm trying to say. Is it really I'm asking as a lay person, a simple person who doesn't necessarily know how medicine works or anything, is how much of it is really about just people caring that other people will be well, That's what I'm trying to
That's
ask.
a very
Is my,
nice question, Asaf. Thank you very much. Yes, I think it would be easy. You can say I'm naive, but I like to be naive. But I think if everybody is caring about each other, and if we don't put our efforts in healing, but we put more efforts in preventing and care more about each other, and maybe in some kind of communities like little villages once was, where everybody's looking for everybody, mental health, and I think this is very important, will be better. And if you feel if you feel loved, and if you know that people have compassion with you, and if people come to you and you go to people and you listen and you talk and you have a good connection, the mind is very strong. And if the mind is not strong, and if you feel low all the time, you also will become more easy ill
Elisabeth,
from
are you
all
familiar? It sounds like you are. Are you familiar with those studies about when you feel loved, your body heals faster, and when you feel?
Yes.
Can you talk about that for a minute? Because
I mean,
you said that you're kind of naive, but you're not. I mean, you can be naive, but you're also a surgeon. You're also dealing with compliance. You're dealing with very practical things as well. So um, it's a very nice marriage of the two things. So can you speak about that when and when you're speaking about it, you're not speaking about it like you're hanging crystals and you're saying we should just do this and it. No, you're talking about it from a medical perspective, from
yes.
a professional perspective.
For instance, if I work in the ambulance and people come with pains in the knees or arthritis, and they need a hip arthroplasty, or they have back pains for years, and they come with a smile, face like that, and if I'm coming to them openly and I ask them what's the matter, and I ask maybe a little bit deeper, how's your family situation, and what else are you hurting from, then sometimes people who came to get an operation, a date for appointment for operation, after the talk, they reconsider and they think it's not so bad, I can go on with that. And what I want to say is that if people feel loved and connected, it's more easy to stay healthy, because not every, but a lot of illnesses come through a low immune system, and immune system is depending on how you feel and how your surrounding is, how your environment is, what you eat. You said it first, said 20 minutes ago about the garbage and the food and the plastic and things and all that. If you eat normal food, if you cook yourself, if you avoid garbage, if you are in a good company, if you don't have to work like in a rat race from 9 to 5 every day, all those things, sometimes I think if humanity were a person, it would have to go to a shrink,
so
because I don't
that's
know why
exactly
we
what
are so crazy.
that's what I was getting at before. Sorry to cut you off. I was just like, yeah, that's what I was asking. So if we were to create a different world where the human being would have a
Ah, yes,
different
yes.
kind of life, we wouldn't be so sick to begin with, right? Like, so we need a different view of medicine, more of like a preventive medicine, more of
Yeah. So
like, yeah.
Shira says healthcare. Shira Land says healthcare on Facebook. Shira Land is unavailable to a large part of the world's population. So according to what you're saying, so of course there's going to be different outlying cases where somebody may need some kind of acute medicine, but in general, we protect ourselves from so much sickness and so much illness by our psychology and by the way we behave towards each other, right?
And
So
she
that
she just told us stress, the immune system, your mental well-being, all of that immediately translates to your physical health as well. And I think even your ability to fend off viruses, right?
Elisabeth,
I'm completely sure about that.
Elisabeth, we're very interested in speaking to our guests again, like in cycles as this progresses. Maybe if you would join us again, we can start with this, unless there's some major thing that's happening in your world or in the news to speak of. Maybe the next time you come back, you can speak to us more. I mean, you just said, I'm completely sure about that. This would be very, very important, because a lot of times people feel like a victim to some billionaire. I could get ahead if only they didn't, do this, or I would be healthy if only they didn't do something. And what we're saying is that there's already enough of us. Somebody else asked how many. Here, Jacqueline asks, what percentage of the population needs to have this consciousness in order to have the ripple effect? Jacqueline, a very, 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 very small percent of the population needs to have this consciousness. Why? Because you'll see that even today we'll start talking about things. We'll start focusing our inner powers on these things, because we're talking about things that are on what's called, according to Kabbalah, the human level, not on the animal level or the vegetative level or even lower. And what'll happen is you'll start to see somebody else in the public eye start talking about it the next day or a few days later, right? Because we're affecting this network that literally exists, the network that the virus is working on us on, not just on the biological level, but on the level of thoughts and consciousness and all these things. So Elisabeth, you help because you give us some credibility, because we don't have, we have the Kabbalists, but for people who are new to this, you bring it down to earth. You're dealing with real people. If Asaf and I are talking about, oh, well, there's a study that says if you behave like this and if you do this, you become healthy, but you're a doctor and you see patients, and if you see that a person's outlook on life and the way that people around them care about them affects how they're healing, it helps people feel confidence that this is real. Maybe this is where we can begin the next time we have you back on the show. I don't know, 3 weeks, whatever it is, how long, we don't know how long yet we're going to be in quarantine, but you've been an awesome guest. You have amazing energy. Thank you. It is probably almost 9 o'clock where you are, 10 o'clock where you are in Austria in the evening. Thank you for
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. And Bright is telling us that I don't know where Mauritius is, but there's people
Mauritius.
here watching.
Morocco.
Mauritius.
A
Oh,
beautiful
Morocco.
island.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Isn't it in Morocco? Okay.
Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Brooklyn, Israel, Louisiana, Los Angeles, London, South Africa, Ukraine, Miami, California, and Germany, all here with us, hearing your words, Elisabeth, feeling the connection between us, and creating this new consciousness together. So everybody, please, I see they are already, but please press on that heart button and support what's going on here. And let's take a minute while we're doing this to just in our hearts feel that we're connected, to feel that we're already building this network, this feeling that we're all friends, that we're all part of one humanity together. Elisabeth, any closing words before we close the segment?
One closing word. we can talk about Corona or COVID or the leaderships, but what we really have to fight is our selfishness, because it's, for me, the same. I also look that my family got masks and everything, and I could do it otherwise and go to other people who need it more. So the biggest thing is to fight our selfishness ourselves, and maybe we can also talk about that one time.
We'd be very happy to do that.
Thank you, Elisabeth,
for joining us. Really
Thank you so much.
Here.
Thank you, Seth. So I leave, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I gotta
everybody.
say, I got excited about. I have Moroccan roots, and I thought I saw Mauritius earlier, but it's not. It's actually an island. Marrakesh is a city in Morocco. So sorry for that. I got excited. I do have Moroccan roots, In any case, as we were talking to Elisabeth, there's a few questions here. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but maybe we can do like a blitz and just try to quickly respond to some of the questions. What do you say? You're muted.
Yes, let's do it. And Bright, also let us know if there's anybody brave enough to jump in here and live to ask a question live on the air. But hi, everybody. Wow. It's so beautiful to see all these people from all over the world.
Let's try to
joining
do
us.
it like really fast, like a blitz kind of thing, few sentences each question. And then, guys, we have a surprise for you. We have a suggestion for if you're looking for what's the best end of the world movie to watch today, tonight, this weekend, something along these lines. We have an amazing suggestion for you. So stay tuned for that. So Anton from Khrushchev was asking, who controls our actions? There is a guiding force of nature that controls evolution and everything in it. And as part of that, our actions, thoughts, desires, and feelings are also controlled. However, it leaves us one, like a space, a latitude, some latitude. And that space that it leaves us is called in Kabbalah free choice. And it's the free choice to come in contact with that guiding force. Want to add, Seth?
No. How about that? You did a great job. How about Yusef's question from Yusef Moko from this mysterious island that I don't know how to pronounce.
Which I thought is in Morocco. Yeah, but it's not
Okay,
Marrakesh.
so I'll ask the question. You can answer the question. What is the driving force behind COVID-19?
Same force that is the driving force behind all of nature. It is that force that brings nature and all of creation to its purpose. Here is the whole of reality in less than 30 seconds. There's only one thing that was created, one creation. Less than 30 seconds, I'm going to make it. One creation, and it's one. However, it was shattered. It was visually shattered. It seems like it's shattered to many, many, many different pieces. However, the next stage is to reconnect all those pieces. That's what nature is doing. In order to reconnect all those pieces in a new conscious, newfound conscious way, it sends all kinds of programs. Part of them appear in the form of viruses that change the course of evolution or, speed up the evolution of human beings to reach that conscious connection. You're muted, but I think I nailed the 30 seconds.
Yeah, you got 32 seconds. That was pretty good. Yusef, if that wasn't clear, just ask a follow-up. We'll dig in deeper.
And Bright, can you also put a link to the Kabbalah course if someone wants to take it?
Yes, there you go.
That will be great.
Can you just plug the course for a minute? Because here we're giving a broad kind of current events perspective on the wisdom of Kabbalah. We're not digging real deep. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. But if somebody wants to go into the wisdom of Kabbalah, learn the fundamentals, and kind of approach that spiritual ladder, there's free self-study course to begin, and then an environment to enter to do that. So, Bright, if you can put the link in YouTube and Facebook for that. Christine, do we have time for more questions, or should we go to our special?
I think clip? we can quickly nail one or two.
One more? Okay. Christine Rotelli from New York is asking, this was a question for the doctor who's not with us now, but what is your perspective about Roundup? I think she's talking about the weed killer that's everybody uses here, all the landscape people use here on our digestive system and autoimmune system. Christine, you will be depressed to know that not only Roundup, but there's poison in our food, and there's poison in the candy, and there's poison in the air, and there's poison in the water, and there's poison everywhere. And the extent of the exploitation and deprivation of humanity is pretty much endless. The good news is it's all for a reason. It's so that we can eventually see that this will lead us nowhere, that nobody can run. There's nowhere to hide. The virus is showing us that exactly. There's no island you can go to. The virus will come up on Easter Island, even though no person brought it there. It will pop up everywhere around the world. Nature will come and demand that we, mercifully so far, that we come into balance with each other. And all of these things, we'll see, it says that we'll be as like dreamers, and we'll see how all of these things were just to show us where we need to make that action, so that as bad as the the bad was, to that extent, the extent that it was terrible and disconnected, to that extent and even more, it will be connected and good.
And as promised, here's a suggestion for some end of the world movies you can watch. So enjoy.
Oh, hey.
Wait a second. You want to hear it as well? Everyone wants to hear it. So there you go.
Oh, hey, maybe we can watch this one. You know, it's the one with Brad Pitt, and the zombies are taking over the world.
Zombies.
So he's trying to find a cure with that Israeli soldier chick.
Zombies.
Ooh, what about this one? You know, the plants are spraying that stuff that makes everybody in the world kill themselves. Mark Wahlberg. Zoe Deschanel.
Zoe. Wahlberg.
Got it. Earth has frozen over, 1,000 people on a train. They have to eat cockroaches, so they stop eating the babies. And it's just horrible. I mean, why do they have to make those end of the world movies so end of the world, you know? What if they made a movie about a virus? Let's say it starts in China or whatever. And it's a pandemic and it spreads all over the world. But so they start thinking. They start reflecting about all the mistakes they made and how they treated nature, how they treated each other, how they exploited the planet, and they recognize they're all connected. And then the virus goes away and they step out to the world and they realize they can build a whole new world, new economy, new politics, new educational system where everybody feels connected to each other and with nature and everything is in balance and they feel like one global family and everybody are happy and everything is awesome. Wouldn't you watch that movie?
Yeah.
Nah, that wouldn't work. All right, friends then.
That is so good.
All right.
That is so good. Thank you, everybody. Awesome show, Asaf. Thank you,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, this was, if you want to watch this, again, I'll put a link here. This was from Ali, my wife, who had a lot of fun doing it. And full disclosure, I do have writing and directing credits here. So, Mara, we will consider it if she has time with the kids. Yeah, we're signing off. I will also put the link to the course again. I'm not sure we have the right link there, Bright. We'll make sure that in 1 minute you'll have the link to the clip and the link to the course right there on the chat. Thank you everyone for being with us. It's so good to see all these people from so many different places building this new consciousness that the world needs and that coronavirus really is pushing us to develop. Seth?
Wish I could hug everybody. Lots of love, everyone. Bye. We'll see you on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Sunday, 2
In the
p.m.
quarantine.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.